Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from IDon'tWorkHereLady. Story 1 is by Definition Tough 2638. Maybe Don't Make It, a Blockbuster Night. It was the summer of 98 or 99, and I was 13 years old in the Sega Genesis section of the video game aisle of Blockbusters, trying to work out if I had enough pocket money to get a 3-day rental on a game, and still have enough money to buy at least 12 AA batteries. I never owned a Genesis, but the Christmas before, my parents had got my brother and I a Nomad to share, Sega's handheld that could play Genesis games, on 6 AA's for about 3 hours before running out of juice. So here I am, crouched down at the bottom shelf trying to guess which games had the least on-screen text. The display on the Nomad was terrible with text. When some middle-aged dude saunters up to me and asks, "Hey, does the tape version of Titanic show Kate Winslet's Hooters?" Now, there are 2 pieces of context I should provide before I continue. First, that over summers I volunteered at a local science museum that had a Blockbuster IMAX theater. Our uniforms, which I was wearing, consisted of a collared polo shirt with the museum's logo and Blockbuster IMAX embroidered in yellow over the right side of the chest, as well as a belt and khakis. How this man saw the logo while I was squatting down in front of the bottom shelf is beyond me, but it was in the same location as the yellow Blockbuster's ticket logo on the video store employees' shirts. Sorry, I haven't seen it. A lie, but what 13-year-old is comfortable talking about nude scenes with some skeezy old dude? Ain't that your job? Go ask your manager if you don't know. This was followed by the phlegmy equivalent of a yuck laugh that I can't manage to reproduce in text. Think Goofy's yuck if Goofy was a chain smoker. Oh, sorry, I don't work here, You're wearing a Blockbuster shirt and Blockbusters. Don't you piss on my boots and tell me it's raining. Go get your manager. No, see, it's for the Science Museum. Manager! This was not shouted at me, but bellowed into the air like someone trying to summon a security or hall taxi. I flinched anyway. Sir, can we help you? Came 2 employees in their branded polo shirts. Effing new guy here needs an attitude adjustment. I don't work here. He doesn't work here. The heck he doesn't. Why are you covering for him? You train him? That other critical piece of context. Blockbuster's polo shirts were a bright royal blue. My uniform was a dark forest green. Not one of those aquamarines that someone with blue-green color blindness might have a hard time differentiating. Completely different saturation. Sir, he's not an employee, he's a customer. That's not our logo. That's not even our color. Bull crap. Swear to God, I don't work here. I may have started panicking a bit. I didn't grow up in a house with yelling, and this may have been one of the first times I was ever shouted at. Shut the F up and let the grown-ups talk. Sir, please, we need you to... The French have an expression, l'esprit d'escalier. The idea being that you only think of the perfect thing to say once you've walked out the door and are walking down the steps. I got a buddy who calls them jerk store moments. What I should have said was, I don't know this man. He came up to me asking about dirty movies. Still, I'm proud of the response 13-year-old me actually came up with. If I did work here, would I be immediately fired for calling this customer a jack blank to their face? Absolutely. Fine. He's a jack blank. Now I definitely don't work here. Can I go home now? Yeah, kid. We'll mail you your last check. This brought back a few memories. Blockbuster became a thing when I was in my teens, so it wasn't something that was there when I was kind of growing up as a kid. But I do remember going to rental stores a lot. Now, we had Nintendos. We never really did the whole Sega thing. I've played a lot of the Sega games on emulators and whatnot over the years, but we always owned the Nintendo. That was always our system of choice as we were growing up. But even Blockbuster brings back memories. It was always iconic to see a Blockbuster in town because it was always blue and gold all the time. Like a shining beacon of light that reminded you that school or work was soon to be over and you could maybe watch a movie or play a video game. Down in the comments by SDVFUHNG. I had one, let's call him Cecil, that ordered old movies every other week. and if he got his movies, he was in a good mood. And if Cecil didn't, he'd nitpick every little thing anyone did, often calling the district manager. After a few calls, our DM knew who Cecil was and didn't bother us except on his monthly visits. Heck, our DM was even called on to his higher-ups, and it was all because a classic movie he wanted wasn't available, and our DM didn't try hard enough to get it. Cecil would waste so much time with anyone that made the mistake of saying, "Welcome to Blockbuster." He even tried to get one of my employees fired, for he didn't like her eyes. The best customers paid their late fees with no problems. We had one that would bring her food truck around for us and give us discounts and or even free food. She was a great customer. I vividly remember that spring into summer. We had the perfect team. I made the schedule a month in advance for everyone's schedule, which just worked so darn good. People were able to get vacations and time off with no problems, and coverage for things coming up unexpectedly was no problem. Man, that was the best. Sadly, when school rolled around, we lost some great people. One went to work in the justice system, another two got better jobs, and the last workhorse of the team went off to school. Fond memories of Blockbuster Video, that's for sure. You know what's funny? These people remember times from the 90s to the late 90s and how Blockbuster Video and everything was great, and it was great. But I remember times from the 80s and the early 90s that were great, so it's reminiscing about things is all relative. You can have a really good childhood memory and it's from a much better time. You know what that means, guys? We just have to get rid of Netflix, right? That'll fix everything. Video stores will come back. Yeah, right. It's not gonna happen. Our next story is by The Hurricane Scratch. Dude, I promise I can't help you. This happened last week and I still find it funny, so I thought I would share. I went to my local Walmart to find a new tower fan since my dog body slammed my old one and to buy some dog and cat treats. I was standing in an aisle looking for a dog-proof tower fan when a tiny Latino man poked me on my arm, repeating the word conserva and then help in English. Now, this guy couldn't have been taller than maybe 5'1". He looked like he was in his 60s or early 70s, and he started asking me where some kind of food or plant was, along with repeating conserva. I don't speak any Spanish, but I understand some easy words. I tried to explain that I don't know what he wanted and I don't work at Walmart, but it was clear that we didn't understand each other, so I walked away to find me some dog and cat treats. Also, the fan selection at Walmart blows. The guy keeps following me around at the store and kept asking me things in Spanish, so I don't really understand anything he's saying. After a few aisles of him doing this, I stopped, looked at him, and all I said was, "Dude, I promise I can't help you." He finally said okay in English and walked away. I figured he had given up after understanding what I said, or maybe he recognized that the grungy dude in the hole-ridden Carhartt t-shirt and basketball shorts wasn't his guy. I eventually found some cat treats, and while walking down the aisle to where the dog stuff was, the Latino man approached me with one of the managers in tow. He was talking to the manager in rapid-fire Spanish, who was then responding in very slow Spanish back to him. It was kind of funny, to be honest, and the manager asked me, "What did you promise this man?" I responded, "I promised him nothing except that I couldn't help him," and then, "What's up?" The manager looked back down at the Latino man and asked him something, and then the manager said to me in a very confused tone, "He said you promised him something." Now, y'all, I was at the end of my line with this guy. Admittedly, rudely, I raised my voice a bit. All I said was, "Did he also mention the 15 minutes he spent following me around the store hounding me for stuff in a language I don't speak? I don't know what he was telling you or how that affects me, but can I finish my shopping?" The manager apologized for stopping me and walked away while arguing with the little guy in Spanish. So I thought it was over. I took my basket to check out when the very same tiny old annoying Latino guy stopped me again at the checkout line, with whom I'm assuming was his daughter on FaceTime. He pointed his phone screen at me and his daughter saw me and went, "So you obviously don't work here?" Said something to him in Spanish angrily, and then he said something back and got huffy. Then I got to stand there next to him while his daughter berated him for bothering random people in both Spanish and English. The daughter at least said sorry as he was walking away, but I couldn't really hear what she was saying because he was power walking away from me at Mach 5 while she said it. This doesn't really have a point besides making my day worse when it happened. However, I did buy a fan online and it's been completely dog-proof so far. So that at least went well. Language barriers can be a problem. Thankfully, I do speak not fluent Spanish, but a decent amount of Spanish. However, I don't know what the word conserva means. I figured if he was saying help me in Spanish, he'd say ayúdame, but this guy said he was saying help in English and conserva. What does conserva mean? Alright, so I did Google conserva in the Translate Spanish to English dictionary, and it says preserves? So was this guy asking for like strawberry preserves or something? Or does conserva mean something else in Spanish? Those of you who speak Spanish fluently, I'm sure somebody's going to have the answer to this. What does conserva mean? Preserves to me just means like strawberry preserves that you would spread on toast or something. Our next story today is by Sir Lenoth. Old man mistakes me for his nurse. This happened about a year ago. It's not really an aggravating story, but it's still a good one, I think. I'm currently in my apprenticeship as an IT expert in a company that builds anything regarding networks. Telephone systems, safety cameras, data centers, Windows domains, firewalls, nurse call, you name it, we make it. Most of our customers are medical facilities of some sort, mainly rest homes for old people. And during my apprenticeship, I'm supposed to work with the other departments of our company to get a feeling for what we do. That time I was working in a rest home for old people, replacing their out-of-date fire alarm system. Most of the time when we do work like this, the places aren't closed, so we naturally come into contact with nurses or their residents. This time, the nurses and other staff of the place were extremely friendly to us. They offered us a room in the basement to store our stuff, another room with couches and furnished like your old people living rooms for breaks, and even allowed us to get their canteen food for free at lunchtime. We got the same food the residents got and usually took our meals to the living room that was provided to us. And one day, as I was standing in line to get my food, one of their residents approached me with an expression somewhere between, "Please help me," and "Where am I?" I had some experience with dementia and Alzheimer's and could tell that this guy had something in that spectrum just from the look he gave me. As he came into reach, he grabbed my arm with a strength you'd not expect from a man of his age, and began to hastily tell me to bring him to his car. He kept going, saying that he was told to eat his meal before someone picks him up and get him home. For a moment, I was just as confused as he was, given I was clearly wearing my work pants and even the jacket with the name of our company. Then I remembered some stories my sister told me, who's coincidentally working as a nurse for dementia patients. I kept calm and put my plate away, turning to the old man and made my biggest mistake of that day. I tried to explain to him that I'm just a technician and that he should get one of the nurses. Of course, he was too far away to understand what I'm saying and kept asking me about the car that's supposed to get him and that I should bring him there. We kept going back and forth like this for a moment until another resident, an old lady with all her mental capacity intact, approached us and handled the situation much better than I did. She began asking him about the meal he mentioned, taking his hand and leading him back where he came from. I didn't see how their situation ended, but from how she managed him, I guess it was much better than my experience. Oh, it's gonna suck to get old. I really hope that I maintain my mental faculties. Because I talked to some of you guys before and some of the comments mentioned that I have trouble remembering things. And that's kind of been an all my life thing. Like mentioning the fact that I don't ever remember to bring grocery bags to the store once they change from the plastic bags to the reusable ones. I just really hope that way down the line I still remember things. Because there's a lot of information that I have packed into my head that I will remember forever. It's never going anywhere, but there's certain things that just don't stick. Somebody will tell me to go upstairs and grab a hat or something from the room, and I'll go up and completely forget what I went up there for. Like, if I say I'm going upstairs, I gotta grab my hoodie, and they say, "Can you grab this too?" I won't remember. And I'll come back downstairs and they'll be like, "Did you get this?" And I'm like, "Nope, I didn't." So I really hope it's not an indicator of early dementia or real bad memory problems in my life, but here's to hoping, and aging sucks. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have the most memorable day.